Hey friend, you are listening to the She Lives Purposely podcast with me, Megan Edmonds. If you want to be encouraged and equipped to live purposefully, to live how God calls you to live, then this show is definitely for you. I believe that you have purpose and that your purpose, like mine, is to glorify God, and love other people. Each week, we'll talk about different ways that God has called us to live purposefully, chat about Christian living, answer life and faith questions, and have some powerful conversations with my friends. All right, so let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the She Lives Purposely podcast. After a month-and-a-half hiatus, we are back. And if you are looking for a podcast that is full of encouragement, talking about purpose, Christian living, all the things, then this episode is for you. Before we dive in, I want to introduce our special guest of today, my sweet and handsome husband.
Handsome. Okay.
Donnie, welcome to the podcast, or welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much. So honored to be here. Always love being on this podcast. So thank you.
We're excited. Well, our title has totally given away what we're talking about today and why Donnie is on the podcast today. So we're going to talk about it in a second, but we might as well have the big reveal right now.
We're pregnant!
And we are so excited. We're so excited.
Praise
It's
God.
Been like the hardest secret ever to keep.
Yes.
And has been one of the biggest reasons for the hiatus.
Yeah.
Another big reason has been, if you are watching on Spotify or YouTube, you are probably noticing it. We have kind of a whole new setup going on.
Hopefully you're noticing it.
Hopefully you're noticing it. New camera, new mics, new boomsticks, just a bunch of different new things, and a new setup too, like new background. I'm no longer recording at my desk. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say tripod, new colors, right? New everything.
Yeah. So there's going to be some new colors with posts, things like that, a little bit change up in the font. So it's a similar vibe, but just a little bit, happier, perkier, all the feels like that, just in time for spring too. I'm feeling it. It's so funny because with this rebrand, like I decided I wanted to kind of have a rebrand in the fall. And then with the first trimester, neutral colors started giving me such an ick. And I just wanted more color in my life. So it was kind of perfect with the rebrand because I was making it more colorful.
Yeah, it was kind of wild because we have different bowls and plates and stuff with different colors in our cabinets in the kitchen. And before, I think you would just grab any one of them. But with this first trimester, you were grabbing only like the colorful ones.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, it's been fun. We're on a colorful journey.
Especially with She Lives Purposely. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
And there's going to be just a different vibe with the podcast. I think just a little bit more like intimate and friendly and conversational. And I'm really excited for it. Same heart, same mission, still talking about like the same important things, but also just, making it a little more cash and more fun. So I'm excited for it.
Love it.
It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I think I was intimidated to do. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. That we're here. So crazy. Okay. Before we jump into all things pregnancy, I want to say, because on my last two episodes, I teased kind of this, like, if you guys would be interested in a music playlist of Christian music, worship, then, send me a message, comment on Spotify, different things like that. And I got so many comments. And then even because we took this hiatus, people started DMing me like, is this playlist out yet? And so I'm happy to say that the playlist is out. I will be linking it in the show notes. I think it's called like Christian music / worship for the soul.
It slaps. It's awesome. It's just a good variety of all types of different genres, depending on, it's worship, but in terms of like acoustic or a little poppy or a little, bright. So there's all these different feels to it. So it's awesome. It's
very carefully curated. I was just DMing somebody today, and they said that they loved it too. They've been listening on repeat, so I'm really glad. But little plug there. But I wanted to put music on that I would actually listen to, because sometimes I think, we can be drawn to different types of music, and listening to worship, listening to Christian music is so important to fill your mind and your heart with the things of the Lord. And so I wanted it to be a playlist that I would really want to go to, and something that I really liked. I got requests too. I was like asking my friends, asking Donnie for different like music that they like that's Christian worship. So it's a really good compilation of music.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
No, it's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will
Check
link
it
that
out.
in the show notes for you. Yeah. But without further ado, let's hop into our pregnancy
Woo woo.
birth. Well, not birth. Birth is still 6 months away, but like
we got a ways.
all things baby.
Yeah. All right. So start at the beginning.
Yeah. So do you want to? I guess we can talk about like how we found out
Okay.
that we were pregnant.
Yes.
Even before that, I guess, which is a question we've been getting a lot, is were we trying or was it a surprise?
Yes, a couple of people. Yeah. We were trying. So this wasn't out of the blue. And yeah, so I guess it all started on the weekend of Thanksgiving. We, obviously Thursday, Friday, Saturday's all family. And man, I think you should tell this part because it's
and then we'll
it's
get
your
to it.
it's your business sort of.
We're mostly girls here, but I was late on my period.
Yeah.
And we had been planning for it. So I was like, oh, maybe, but I'm not like, I'm pretty regular, but I'm not the same day every month type of like cycle person. And so I was like, oh, maybe it's just a little bit late. But then like I was supposed to get it on Thanksgiving, didn't get it Thanksgiving, not that Friday. Saturday, I was like, all right, like maybe let's get a pregnancy test. But we didn't take it because I was like, I feel like, what if I do get my period and, let's give it another day. So Sunday morning, I don't think I was feeling well. We stayed home from church and we did church online, confession. And
you took the pregnancy test into the bathroom?
Yes. And I feel like,
and this is a big moment.
This is a huge moment. We were talking about this too, where I feel like a lot of times, like the woman will find out by herself and reveal it in a really cute way to her husband.
Yeah.
We were both home. You knew I was taking it.
Yeah. I feel like I was trying, and maybe you were trying not to get too excited or build up too much anticipation about it. Cause it's like, what if it's negative? You know what I mean? And also, if it's positive, it's like this, like kind of just earth shattering, groundbreaking thing. So, amazing thing. And so
in a good way,
in a very good way. Yeah, it's kind of wild, but so you go into the bathroom.
Yes. So it was my first time taking, like I had taken.
Was this really your first time?
I had taken little, like, they're like little tiny strips that come with a like box that if you're ovulating, it comes with that. So I've taken those before, but this was my first time taking like a clear blue, like a legitimate $5 a pop like pregnancy test.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
So I was like really reading the instructions to make sure I didn't get it wrong either way. And then so I took the test and the instructions had said like it can take from 2 to 10 minutes. So I was like, okay, let me get my phone. I have like, 1 minute until it starts to show or whatever, or 2 minutes, I guess. So I start to open the door to go get my phone and I look back at the test and it was already like a dye stealer positive. It was so positive.
So they call it a dye stealer?
Yeah. Where it's like the positive starts to take from the control because it's like so strong.
Wow.
But again, this was my first time, one, taking a test like that, and two, seeing a positive result. So I was also, and like you're expecting it enough to take a test, but you're in such disbelief. So I feel like I was like opening the door. Donnie was about to start vacuuming. So he has the vacuum in his hand, I think it was, or like a broom or something.
Yeah.
You're right outside the bathroom door. I'm just looking at the sink, like where the test is. And then, what did you?
I kind of forgot that I was about to vacuum. I think I was like trying not to think about it too much. Yeah, so I'm right outside the door with vacuum in hand, and I see the door open. I don't see her, like she's around the corner a little bit, and I'm expecting her to run out and start like celebrating, and if it's positive, and you didn't do that, so I thought like, oh, it's probably negative because I just didn't hear anything, see you, anything. So I peek my head around the corner and you're there just like focusing so hard on the counter where the test was and I guess the directions and stuff. And
I think you asked me. Like,
did I?
Is it?
Yeah. Like, are we? You don't even want to say it, like, because it's so crazy. And then you were like, "Hey, come here. Does this look positive to you?
And again, it was so clear. Like, it was so stark. But this was our first.
Yeah. And so we spent the next like 5 minutes going back and forth between like the instructions and the actual results.
Did I do it right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then like slowly the realization comes over us that yes, this is positive when we're going to be parents.
Yeah.
And it's like, I teared up, you teared up. It was a very beautiful moment. And it was kind of wild.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wow, we have the best news in the world for us, like just like ground, breaking news. And then immediately we started talking about, when are we going to tell other people? Like, when are we going to tell our family? When are we going to tell our friends? And it was kind of crazy because this was right after Thanksgiving, where we saw all our extended family and friends and stuff.
So it was like, oh, we just taken it like,
I know, a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know.
So we had to figure it out. And so how far along were we though at that point?
Super early. So we were at the beginning of our 4th week.
Wow.
Baby Edmonds was the size of a poppy seed, which is so small.
That's crazy.
But I think at the time it was like, oh my goodness, like it's a whole poppy seed, like it just feels so like big and crazy. But yeah, it was really early, beginning of the 4th week. And I know people find out like week 6, even week 7, week 5. I know people who have found out way later. So we found out really early.
Which was like, hard in the way that just we had to hold on to this for a little bit.
Yeah, which I think too was also maybe fun to talk about. Like, our families, I think, have had different approaches to talking, like revealing when they're pregnant.
It's so funny. Yeah. So just this goes for like marriage in general. I think like you bring to the marriage like the defaults that you saw in your own family growing up, and you think that's just the norm, and then you get married and you're like, yeah, no, let's do it like this. And your spouse is like, well, that's not how we did it. And it's just it's like, it's a fun journey finding out those things. And this was one of them. So
how about your family first?
I'll tell. So my family, so my brother, he's 8 years older than me. So he was kind of, the model for like, all right, him and his wife, Amy, like, when do you tell people about your pregnancy? And I think they waited the first trimester, nearly the whole first trimester,
like around week 12 to 14 kind of thing.
Yeah, right. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's normal. That's like what everyone does,
which it is, which a lot of people do. Yeah,
but even for family too.
Right.
So I thought that was like, okay, that's when you tell your family, that's when you tell other people. Now I will say circumstances were a little different because they live up in Boston, and we were all coming together for Amy, my sister-in-law's birthday party. So both sides of the family were there. So it's just a really good reason. It was a really good reason, like, opportunity to tell everybody at once.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect to it. But that was kind of my mindset. What was your family?
My family on the flip side, like on my mom's side, especially like cousins that were getting pregnant. The first one, like on my mom's side that got pregnant, told us, I think it was like the day that she found out. Another cousin told us like, maybe week 5, 6, another cousin week 6, like really like early on. ASAP. And so my idea is like, we could tell them this weekend. We could tell the extended family like, and I'm now. Like, whoa. Yeah. And he's like, we have to wait like 8 more weeks, So that was a fun, like, which we compromised it. We did.
Yeah, we did. So
more closer to week 6.
Well, yeah. This is totally new to us. And Meg is feeling the symptoms and she doesn't know what to do. All of a sudden we're looking at medicine, like you had a cold or something, and you wanted to take some Tylenol or some like Dayquil or something. So we reached for it and we're like, wait, we're pregnant. We got to see if we can even take this. So, and it's like, I think for, one of them, it was Dayquil was like, maybe not use if you're pregnant. So we're like, oh, there's this whole aspect of, this now, so many questions. And so you want to go through it with, your family and your mom and ask those questions and like see those things.
I think too, eventually, like it was around the holidays. So, and we had family birthdays happening. So we were gathering a lot, and it just became
Right.
so clear that I was unwell. My one cousin told us, because we told her a week after a family gathering, she was like, I knew when I saw you. I was
Yeah.
like, this girl's pregnant.
Yeah.
Because I just was so sick.
That was another aspect too.
Yeah.
It's like we couldn't hide it any longer. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that is a funny side of things. So do you want to talk about when we told our family?
Yeah. So our immediate family, we told them on the same night, which was really sweet.
Yeah.
It was the day of our first ultrasound. I think it was the end or beginning of week 6. I don't remember, somewhere in week 6. And with my family, so when my mom told me that she was pregnant with my sister when I was 6 years old, she made me a t-shirt that said, ask me why I'm so happy, to wear to school. So that people would ask me and I would tell them, that my mom was pregnant and I was going to have a sister. So I recreated a version of that t-shirt and made it for her, and she opened it in front of my family, which was really sweet.
It was a really awesome
and
moment.
then with your family, yeah.
Wait, just to spend a little more time on that, because she took the t-shirt out of the bag and she was looking at it, and I think she was like, wait, what? Like she knew what it meant,
but was like, is this really what you're telling me?
Right.
And then my dad was like, en serio, which is like, are you serious?
In Spanish. Yeah. So it was very cool. And then you're like, yep. And they're like, ah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. And then like an hour or two later,
we drive back
to
our house,
our apartment here. And I invite my family over. We have a little game night. We play a board game called Boulder Dash. I don't know if anyone else. I've never run into someone else who's known.
I'm sure that
the name of this game.
Some people will.
I feel like, but it runs deep in our family. Like we play it every Thanksgiving or every Christmas, or whatever. So I thought it would be a cool way to tell my family that we're pregnant. And the way the game works is you have a deck of cards. Each card has like a word on it that you've never heard of, just like the wackiest words. And you read that word out loud. Everyone has to write down what they think the definition of the word is. And then the person who read the word collects all the definitions, reads them all, and people have to guess, like, oh, which definition is the actual correct one. And the person who says the word out loud wrote the real definition. So we chose a word beforehand that meant like with child or bearing child or something like that. And
we pretended to pull it
from the card deck. And so we read it, people write down their definitions, people guessed. And at the end of that round, I said, what's crazy is that there is actually someone here who's with child. And I feel like your family was like it was a quicker realization.
They instant.
I think my family was like, because we're in the middle of a game and it's like, what are the chances that I draw a card that's about being pregnant and Meg's pregnant? So it was like, I think it was slower realization.
Yeah. And right before too, your sister had joked about like,
that's
she
right.
had kind of guessed the definition. She was like, what if it was
someone made a joke like, oh wow, what if this was how I came out and right. Told everybody.
So he was like, oh my gosh,
wait, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
So
but it was sweet, both at like tears, both like
tears,
families.
Yes.
It was just so it was fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. And then, I feel like we told everyone, don't tell, like keep this on the DL.
We kept it pretty DL otherwise.
And then from there, what did we do? We started slowly expanding the circle.
Really slowly, but we kept it pretty DL.
I will say, Meg's family has a WhatsApp, like her extended family is all on this WhatsApp because a lot of them are in Argentina. And so you sent a picture, right? In the WhatsApp. So besides the whole country of Argentina knowing that we were pregnant, I feel like we kept a pretty tight lid here in the States.
Yeah. No, that's so funny.
Yeah.
It was really fun though. It was sweet. I'm trying to think too. Symptom wise, I feel like I had everything under the sun that is associated with first trimester. Nausea every day, all day.
Yeah.
Not morning sickness is
not the right term.
It's PR. Really.
It's PR. Morning, afternoon, evening.
Primarily afternoon, evening.
Yeah. But yeah, really, I wasn't expecting it. I thought the symptoms came when you started showing more for some reason. I didn't realize it showed so the symptoms came so early on
Yeah.
in the process. And but I guess it makes sense because you're totally rewiring. Like your body's just
It's crazy.
getting ready to have a baby. So it's like everything is just shifting around and rewiring itself to make a home for this little guy.
Make a home, which is so wild. But yeah, so nausea, vomiting almost every day, at least once a day, I think.
Yeah.
And then exhaustion. I would sleep a full night and then take like a 2 to 3 hour nap in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And two, so kind of going back to the rebrand, I feel like I had this vision for it, but Donnie was really the one who executed it. He did all the research on all the equipment, just did so much. He bought everything, and I just was like asleep, uncontrollably not able to stay awake on the couch, nauseous, like he did so much for it.
So if anything looks bad, or you know to blame.
No, I feel like it was really sweet, and like, you made it come to life, which is cool.
No, I was very excited for you to this rebrand, this new year, having everything take it up a level. So I'm really excited that we were able to do that.
No, me too. Let's talk about two. I want to talk about, did we reveal what the gender is yet?
I may have accidentally revealed it.
That's totally
again.
Fine. We revealed it on Instagram. Yes. So,
I said this little guy.
Oh, that's fine.
I said this little guy.
So it's a boy.
We're having a boy. We're having a little guy.
We're really excited. What we haven't shared yet on Instagram is the name. Do you want to reveal that?
Okay, yes. So,
have you ever asked yourself, who am I? Your identity is more than your relationship status, job title, or physical appearance, but can you say exactly what it is? If you're looking to find biblical answers to tough life questions like this one, I have just the thing for you. Yarrow helps guide you through the Bible so you can know what it says and what it means for your actual life, which is so important. With beautifully designed print books, it's never been easier to connect God's Word to your life. Yarrow's Bible studies help me to be rooted in Scripture, grow in Christ, and find the answers to life's toughest questions. Their new Bible study, known A Study of Identity Part 1, guides you through chapters in Genesis, Psalms, Job, and Ephesians, and challenges you to apply God's Word to your life through journaling prompts, mindfulness exercises, community, and more. It's time to look to Scripture to better understand your spiritual identity. Order Yarrow's Bible Study Guide, known A Study of Identity Part 1, and start digging deeper today. Visit www.yarrow.org and use my discount code She Lives Purposefully for 10% off your purchase. That's www.yarrow.org and use my discount code She Lives Purposefully for 10% off your purchase.
I'm the third. So my dad, my grandfather, all the same name. So we're going to name our son Donald Raymond Edmonds IV.
Yeah, so little Donnie.
Yeah,
so
little
cute,
Donnie.
Baby Donnie.
Yeah.
Which I feel like we've only shared with family and friends. So that's first time you're hearing it.
Yep, we're very excited.
Yeah.
I was little Donnie growing up, so it's kind of wild to think
Yeah.
there's another one coming.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So crazy.
So I know this was something we talked about for before as well. Like if it's a guy, we were pretty set on that. If it was going to be a girl, our Venn diagrams for girl names just didn't overlap. Like we had very different opinions.
Yeah.
But
I think
we finally settled on one, which we'll keep on. Yeah.
Just in case we use it.
Yeah. So
but yeah, I think we finally agreed on one, which is cool.
But I know some people wait to find out the gender, but in our case, I think we would need like all 9 months to figure out
6. Yeah.
6 from when we figured out the gender to figure out the name. But anyway, so
I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like too, we should talk about something that the Lord's teaching us like during this time, but then also maybe we can talk about after that the ultrasound experience, our second ultrasound experience. I think. That was
very
really cool. So I feel like for me, one thing that the Lord's been teaching me during this time and I've shared this on the podcast before, I think I just struggle quite a bit with anxiety. And there was a lot of anxiety that was coming through in the first trimester. There's just a lot of fears that come along with being pregnant, and it's still really early. And there's just a higher chance for miscarrying. And I just was really feeling anxious. And I think the Lord, over the past long time, especially in the past year, has really been like emphasizing in my heart, like, I don't have control. I have to give up this pretend control that I think I do have, and like trust that the Lord loves me. And that doesn't always look like what I expect it to look like, but it does mean that the Lord is with me, the Lord loves me, and he already knows what's going to happen. Um, and really like cast my cares on him, because if I'm holding all those cares, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to add a day to, anyone's life, or really do anything. So I feel like this trimester, and I can only imagine too, once you actually have your baby, just anxieties that come along with that. And as they grow up, oh my goodness, I'm just, it's going to be something I'm going to have to work on forever. But the Lord, I feel like, has really been reiterating to me, like, okay, this is in my control. It is completely out of your control. There's really quite literally nothing you can do. And so you just have to trust me, like whatever is going to happen, trust that I'm going before you and behind you and all around you. So I feel like that's something.
Yeah.
That's
That's
something for
good.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I think when I found out that we were pregnant, it just kind of like a switch flipped, and I was like, it's like, wow, it really kicks you into shape, because I immediately started thinking, okay, I got to be on my game at work so I can keep providing. I got to make sure that I'm in the word so like I can be the spiritual head of the house, and like for this little child that now is going to be in my care for the next 18 years or so. I got to make sure my body's in shape. Like I started going to the gym. Like I really started like all these different aspects of my life. I feel like it really kind of kicked me into shape of, I really, the responsibility of raising up a son, a child in this world really hit me. That reality hit me. So, all aspects of my life, I feel like, yeah, I'm starting to read more like books, especially spiritual books now. Like, yeah, it kicks you into shape a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know. I feel like I remember when we found out, that was one of the first things you said. You were like, all right, I gotta get, like, I forget what the verbiage was, but it was basically like summing up what you just said.
Yeah.
And I think it's so cool because too, it is like, we're both the parents, but you are like the head of the household and like spiritual leader of the household. And so it's a cool like realization of like, okay, like I'm gonna honor the Lord with this. And
Yeah.
like that starts ASAP,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really cool.
And it's kind of, and then you just start evaluating like every little decision, like even in traffic, like, like you don't want to drive too fast because you want to be there, like, or God forbid something happens, and your pregnant wife's at home. So I don't know, just all these thoughts start running through your head. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's been very cool. And I'm glad we have, like, God designed it so we have, by the time we find out, like 6 months or so, 7 months or so to prepare, spiritually, all the ways prepare. So and what's amazing is we're surrounded by such a great group of family and friends, who have been so supportive and so happy for us, and who, many of them have had, kids of their own just a couple of years ago, had like ahead of us in that. So to be able to walk in this with that extended group is, I feel very reassured about. So
I think that's such a blessing. Like, it's just so cool because we have so many people around us. Like, we have our immediate families around us, we have cousins around us, we have friends around. Like, it's just such a what is it called? Like, it takes a village kind of thing, and we really have such a good village.
Praise God.
Praise the Lord.
So do we quick story about the gender reveal and how I
Oh yeah.
So just like we try to keep the just like we try to keep the baby, you know, from being public right away, we also had a gender reveal, so we wanted to keep the gender under wraps. And the day, so we found out the gender through the blood work. So we were able to figure, you know, opening that app, like it's a notification that came on your app.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an amazing thing just to see like boy pop up on your app, and it's like, oh my gosh, like
I feel like, I don't know if you agree, it was almost crazier than finding out we were pregnant.
I agree,
because it just made it, I think, like we talked about, at least for us, like finding out we were pregnant was this slow realization, and you're almost doubting it. Like I think I expected at every appointment, every blood work, even the ultrasound, for them to be like, you were never, like, what? Like everything was wrong, like kind of thing. But with the boy, it was like, this is so real.
yeah,
like
this is my son,
there's a human inside.
yes.
Like, yeah.
So that was amazing.
Oh, I have something else after that, I just realized.
And then we wanted to keep it under wraps, so because for the gender reveal. And so we had my sister Tori and her husband Josh, my best friend. Shout out to you guys. We had them over
like 2 days after we found out.
2 days after, yeah, it was fresh. And we sat them down at the table, and we're like, guys, we're gonna have to be, if we're talking slow or weird, it's because we don't want to reveal the gender of the baby. So that's why we were just trying to keep it secret. Not like 5 minutes later,
not 2 minutes
maybe
later.
less. I was like, oh yeah, we got the blood work and he, and I pause, big pause on he, and I look over, and they're like, and Tori was like, you're having a boy.
Yeah,
it was just like so yeah, I spilled the beans so hard. From that point though, I feel like I was pretty good at it, and they didn't tell anyone, obviously.
They were great, yeah.
In a way, it was nice to like tell somebody,
have a little release,
because
yeah.
it's like you're a balloon, like the pressure is so much, and so just like a little like air out was like nice.
That's a good sound.
Thank you. So yeah, that was the only time I think I shouldn't say I told anyone. You did a great job. You didn't tell anybody, but you had a story you wanted to tell too.
No, I just was thinking, like going back to, you know, it's a boy, and then even the ultrasound, which we can talk about next too, like it was so crazy, I think, in this whole experience to really recognize like different verses that come to life, like how the Lord forms you, and two, just like the Lord already knows little Donnie's whole life ahead of him, you know, like all of the days of his life and all the plans that he has for him. And and two, it's just like he's known that since before he was even in like the womb. So it's just so crazy, I think, to have those things really come to life and see like how much the Lord cherishes life. And I think too, like we were already pro-life, but I think it just was like all the more like, oh my goodness, like this is such a miracle that is happening inside of me right now. And like the Lord again already knows all the days of this baby's life, even when we didn't know the gender yet, you know. The Lord knew everything. So it just was a really cool thing in that way too. I just was thinking of that when we were talking about finding out the gender.
And I think 2 days after we found out the gender, we went for a second ultrasound. And the first ultrasound, little Donnie's a little bean. He's like a tiny little lentil or
like
pop.
A lentil,
just like super tiny.
And to us, we were like, this is wild.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like, she was like, you guys are kind of early.
yeah. She was great, but it just was, he was so small.
There just wasn't much to see because he was tiny. But the second ultrasound was insane because I still had the first ultrasound in my mind. And then when the ultrasound tech, you know, put the thing to your stomach, this like full blown baby, like you see the head, you see the legs, the umbilical cord, the arms, like right there. And it was an amazing, like, oh my gosh, like that's inside you right now. And
even if it's the size of a lime.
And what was crazy, it was like it wasn't moving. He wasn't moving, I guess. I'm still trying to like shift away from that we can say the gender now. So he wasn't moving, and I asked the tech, like, is it moving or whatever? Like, I forget exactly
I
what I
think you were
asked.
like, can it move yet?
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't move yet kind of thing.
And as soon as I said that, he gave a huge kick, like a huge on the ultrasound, just
like a jump. It was so crazy.
And we were shocked just seeing our baby move. And it was wild because it's blown up on a screen. So I guess in my mind, I'm like, can you feel this? Like, is this, how are you not like falling over on the chair, like from these kicks right now?
Which makes me nervous for later. When
but
I can,
he was so tiny still. So, but anyway, it was a very magical moment.
It was sweet too, because it almost felt like this very call and response, like, here I am, Dad. Like, like you're like, oh, does he move yet, kind of thing. And it was like not even 0.5 seconds later, he was jumping around, and he had been so still before, so it just was really sweet.
It was magical.
It was cool,
so what else?
I think that's most of
that's our story so far. We're in the second trimester, so she's been feeling better, not vomiting as much as she has, feeling less nauseous.
And I'm just thinking, we were going to record this yesterday, and I remember I was going to be like, oh yeah, like I haven't vomited in like 2 weeks, and then I threw up last night. So
still happens sometimes, but less than what it was.
Sorry if that's TMI, but
no, I mean,
we're getting real.
Hey, it's part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and I don't know if we said when the baby's due yet.
No, so the baby's due early August, which is so exciting. We're really stoked for it.
Yeah, August is a big month in my family. It's the month we got married, so our anniversary. It's my niece's birthday's in there. Josh, who I just mentioned, his birthday's in there. My parents' anniversary, my dad's birthday was in March, so it's or
August.
My birthday's in March. Yeah. Sorry,
like,
in August.
Due next month.
No, so it's a big month in our family.
No, it's really sweet. Yeah, we're in the second trimester. Really thankful. And two, like, we shared on Instagram and Facebook, and like, if you're part of those communities too, and I'm sure, I hope like it'll happen again here, but thank you so much for all of your love. It has been overwhelming in the best way, I think, just to like, just we just feel so loved, and I feel like little Donnie is already so loved, and it's just been really, really sweet. We should our friend
Speaking
Julia,
of feeling so loved, shout out Julia, who got us.
If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you can see. There we go.
There it is. Yeah. Look at these little guys.
Cutest little shoes.
Isn't that crazy?
They're blue little shoes. We were saying we have to get a pair for Donnie.
Yeah.
Maybe for me
Meg's
too.
a big matching outfit person, which has been learning a curve for me. I feel like.
But I feel like it'll be fun with
the son, like with your No, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
It'll be so fun. Two, I want to say, like, if there are, and I know there are, like, other mamas listening, if you have any maternity clothes tips or things that helped you with like really, I think there's and I get it, like, what's it called, unwarranted, or like advice that you don't ask for,
unsolicited
kind of thing. I'm asking for it. So like, any advice, comment on Spotify, comment on like YouTube, send me an email, DM me, whatever. I would love to get any and all tips that you have. And again, we're so thankful for the community we have, but it's been so fun too to like research even through Instagram, and to hear it from you guys would be awesome.
Yeah.
Also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I think that's everything.
Is that it?
I think.
Is there any other
else you want to share?
Oh, nothing on my end. Just happy to be part of the first episode of the new year with the new mics and setup and everything. And I'm really excited for SLP this year.
Me too. I really am too. I think there's been multiple walks that we've gone on together where I feel like I've just poured out all of my thoughts, and it's formed into what is going to be coming. So I'm really excited for it. Two, just, also as a plug, if you love the podcast and you want to listen ad-free, you want to get episodes a day early, and you want to join reading plans that we have, access to all the Bible studies, a shop code, all of those things, you can become, or you can join She Lives Purposefully Plus, previously known as the bonus subscription. Changed up the name to She Lives Purposely Plus. You can join that. I will link that in the show notes so you can listen to all episodes ad-free. get them a day early. This one was not available a day early because we recorded it Wednesday night. So the day before. But otherwise, yeah, you'll get them a day early and ad-free, which is so much fun too. And I think that's everything.
That's it.
Yeah, friends, thank you so much for listening. The best way to love on this podcast is to leave a 5-star review and also leave a rating. I read all of the reviews on Apple Podcasts. I read all of your comments on Spotify. I'm still figuring out if I can reply to them or not. I don't know how to. I don't think I can, but I read them all. And I love you. I love them, all of them. I wish that I could reply to all of them because then I would. But yeah, and YouTube too. So thank you guys so much for being part of this community. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you're here. And thank you, Donnie, for being on that podcast.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.